The Crimson Desert developers were caught using AI-generated images in their game, continuing to show off that this AI apocalypse in the gaming scene is becoming more and more of a problem. Let's get into it. It all started 3 days ago, where Crimson Desert only launched like the day before that, and received some generally positive reception from critics, and I played it too, and I thought it was pretty alright. But even when I played it, I somehow didn't notice this. Players found AI-generated artwork in the game. I'll read this article. Crimson Desert just launched yesterday to a bit of chaotic and mixed reception from critics. That hasn't hampered the sales, but those 2 million players are starting to stumble into some concerning issues in their first day in Pywell, including the presence of what some are saying may be AI-generated art assets. A number of threads have popped up around social media of players questioning the human authenticity of certain art assets, specifically signs and paintings around the game. There's this painting of 2 swordsmen with a lot of odd angles. What the hell is going on with that sword on the left? Why is there a hilt on that hilt? That's not what swords look like. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I should have noticed this for the short period of time I played this game. Then there's this odd-looking gentleman with funky fingers. Yeah, that's like 6 fingers on his hand. And I'm telling you right now, if you see fucked up fingers on an image, then you got a 9 in 10 chance that either the artist just has trouble drawing hands, or it's AI. Usually it's the second one in instances like these, though, I promise you that. While all of the above, I could see there being an argument for just some funky proportions, the piece that really seems like solid evidence of generative AI is this painting of various men and horses. Just start looking at the horse's legs and keep going. What is going on here? And yeah, right there, this is AI, 200%. If I had seen this image, if I had been paying attention to this junk, I would have told you right now, this is AI, like without a doubt. The use of generative AI to create assets, particularly final published ones, has been a hot button issue in games over the last year. Multiple companies have been under the magnifying glass both for confirming they did use it, or even seeming to use it. Nintendo had to deny accusations of generative AI use in Mario Kart World for various billboards. Activision has experienced an ongoing outcry for generative AI assets found in Call of Duty, as has EA for Battlefield. Larian Studios went through a whole round of public backlash last year when it was revealed in an interview that its upcoming game, Divinity, which I'm pretty sure is a sequel to Original Sin 2, was using generative AI behind the scenes for things like concept art and placeholder text. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 was stripped of an Indie Game of the Year award last year when it was revealed that a generative AI asset inadvertently made it into the final release build of the game. None of these controversies appear to have impacted the sales of these games, but they've certainly turned segments of the public's perception on them. Yeah, it doesn't hurt the sales, but it kills core loyalty by a long shot. So, there's one more paragraph here, but you get the point. The speculation was there, and basically, about a day later, this article was published on March 22nd, but you get my point. Basically, a day after all the mass conjecture was going down on Twitter, Crimson Desert developers actually did sit down and apologize for not disclosing the AI-generated art. And now the developers are working to remove it. They apologized and also followed up with this quote, "We also acknowledge that we should have clearly disclosed our use of AI," the Crimson Desert account posted on X. "We are currently conducting a comprehensive audit of all in-game assets and are taking steps to replace any affected content. Updated assets will be rolled out in upcoming patches. In parallel, we are reviewing and strengthening our internal processes to ensure greater transparency and consistency in how we communicate with players moving forward." In the days following the game's release, players quickly came across in-game paintings that looked like AI-generated images imitating art from ages past. Smudged faces, sleep paralysis demon anatomy, horse people, and repeating hook-nosed anti-Semitic stereotypes. The article's words, not mine. It all pointed towards Pearl Abyss using AI to generate villain assets during development, which the developer confirmed in its apology. Quoting from Crimson Desert's devs, "During development, some 2D visual props were created as part of early-stage iteration using experimental AI generative tools," wrote the official account. "These assets helped us rapidly explore tone and atmosphere in the earlier phases of production. However, our intention has always been for any such assets to be replaced, following final work and review by our art and development teams, with work that aligned with our quality standards and creative direction. Practice is becoming more common in AAA developer spaces, but critics argue that setting aside the use of AI in your game, it's pretty foolish to use temporary assets that don't call obvious attention to themselves. In games of such a massive scale, brat green blocks that scream 'do not use' are much easier to flag than something approximating the final product. And yeah, that's basically exactly what I was thinking. That's actually what game testers have been doing since the dawn of time. And don't get me wrong, there are some things that slip through the cracks, like, oh hey, Alan, please add more detail. If you know, you know. And that doesn't change the fact that this is kind of a blockheaded move. Because the deal is with, like, generative AI images for paintings and then turning around and saying, oh, you know what, no. I think they're lying. I think what they were doing is that they were just hoping that no one would notice the AI generated images. That's what I think. I think that they thought that either A, we would just not notice, or B, we would notice and probably just wouldn't care. That's what I think. So yeah, between this and the NVIDIA DLSS 5 drama, the AI apocalypse is slowly but surely coming to gaming, and needless to say, it's becoming a serious problem. Look, I'm not trying to shame these developers for wanting to try and use what they can in order to speed up their development process, but artificial intelligence is not the way to go about it. It's just not. This is a good comment right here. If I find any AI in a game, I'm just going to assume that a lot of it is outsourced to AI and it's not worth my time to start off with. Why stay at just paintings? Why not outsource the story too, or the game design? If there is a clear no effort presented in the production, then why should that be worth my time or consumption, let alone a steep price tag? Sad, because I was looking forward to picking this thing up in a few weeks. It always starts with paintings, then with other things. Slowly it bleeds from graphics to game design, and suddenly everything will suck dick. They will keep moving the bar on what's accepted, like what was done with microtransactions. My interest just evaporated. And honestly, that's what I was actually going to use that metaphor in a video on my main channel, where microtransactions were the exact same situational dilemma that was in the gaming scene, and now AI is too. Microtransactions, it all started off, the first, probably the earliest controversy I can remember involving microtransactions was way back during 2006 with Elder Scrolls 4, with the fucking horse armor, right? Now, some people flipped out about it, other people thought, oh man, it's not a big deal, it's no big deal, dude, it's just horse armor, it's not even that big, it's not getting in the way of the game, and nobody is telling you or putting a gun to your head, forcing you to purchase it, so just don't buy it. And you know what? I agree. But all of the people complaining at the time were also saying, how much worse can it get? This is the slippery slope to how much worse it will get. And then, years later, Star Wars Gamblefront 2, that massive ass fiasco where Star Wars Battlefront 2 came out on launch and it was literally just a gambling simulator. It is a slippery slope into becoming an absolute hellscape. That is the reason why this is such a big deal. People don't see that, because they don't want to. And honestly, if you think about it, it's actually in this day and age where everyone is a slave to their smartphone and has freaking the shortest attention span on planet Earth, that forces everyone, like basically all human beings, to be even more short-sighted than ever. Not you guys, though. Not you guys watching this video. If you're watching this video, then you're the polar opposite. You know better. But, yeah. As for the gaming scene, though, this is going to be a problem. But fortunately, there is massive pushback and people are telling these dudes to get their act together. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are y'all's? Whatever it is, be sure to let me know in the comment section. And maybe drop a like and subscribe too. That's going to be all for this video, boys. This is Blacklight Jack signing out. You guys have a good one.